screen with American Delver. Eric on the right side of your screen with a more classic dredge deck. So we'll see what happens. It looks like both players are ready to go. I'm not sure if there's any mulligans. It looks like Dustin has 7 cards in his hand.
Yep, we're gonna find out for you if both players kept their 7.
All right, and we'll definitely take a look. You can see Dustin's friends in the background awaiting him to either win or lose, so they can head all the way back to Boston. All right, so Dustin leads off with a Volcanic Island and a Delver of Secrets. A really good start for him. He wants to put some pressure on the dredge player, and he also has a daze.
Wow.
So he's definitely going to daze this right here.
Yeah, slam that.
All right, so Eric falls to 19 because of a City of Brass. Let's see if he flips. They both kept 7.
So important to stop the enablers for dredge. If they don't have the discard outlet, the deck doesn't do anything.
Yep, so Dustin draws a Geist-Stain Draft, misses with the Delver of Secrets trigger, and he'll attack for 1.
Now, looking at Eric Copenhaver's list, he's playing a really risky form of dredge. He's playing the 5-color Lion's Eye Diamond version.
Ooh, okay. Something I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, I really like this version for this tournament. He wants to be as fast as possible, and this lets him do it.
All right, so Eric takes another point of damage. And now, all this damage he's taken from his own lands is probably going to add up.
Yeah, especially when Delver and Geist, that just might be the one turn that Dustin needs.
Yep. All right, so Dustin might respond to this careful study, and he's going to do so with a Brainstorm. So it looks like he draws a Wasteland, a Scalding Tarn, and finally a Tundra. Wow, a really ugly Brainstorm.
Yeah, not what he wanted to see. He would have loved to see
land.
a piece of disruption.
Exactly.
Doesn't find it.
Now Dustin is probably going to put his Swords to Plowshares back on top, so he's able to reveal that to a Delver of Secrets to flip it into a 3/2 flyer.
Right. It's also nice because it protects it from any kind of Cabal therapies.
Sure. All right. So Dustin says, "Yep, your careful study resolves." Eric will draw 2 cards, and he'll discard. Yeah, that's bad for Dustin right there.
Yep. The Grave Troll is the most powerful dredger. It's the one Eric Copenhaver really wants.
Just because it dredges for 6.
Exactly.
Yes, it's the biggest dredger he could have, and it's really powerful here. Does Eric have anything else? What do you think?
Looks like he was. Yeah. Might be a Faithless Looting here.
Yeah. A Cabal Therapy.
Ooh. Who do you think that's targeting?
That is, I'm not too sure.
He could target himself for Bridge from below. He could target Dustin Taylor to remove any kind of ghosts.
No, he chooses Dustin, and I'm not sure what he named. We'll find out if he named the Vidalian Click or not. A Lavamancer.
Wow, that's a weird choice.
Yeah. All right, so now Dustin has the option. He's going to flip the plow. Do you think he's just going to go for the Wasteland right here, or what?
I have to think he's going to waste that Cephalid Coliseum. The Coliseum is such a powerful card in the dredge deck, and he doesn't have much to do with his mana.
Sure,
except Geist next turn.
All right, so Swords to Plowshare is revealed. Dustin flips his Delver and draws the Swords.
Now, if Eric had a consistent discard outlet like a Putrid Imp, I would like going for the Geist of St. Traff plan more, but I think without, he just has to Wasteland.
All right, and you obviously hit what? The City of Brass or the Cephalid Coliseum?
The Cephalid Coliseum.
Cephalid Coliseum, yeah. Sure.
Just so much more important. It dredges for sometimes 18 cards. It can just win on its own.
Okay. Yep, and he does just that. And Cephalid Coliseum hits the bin. Eric falls to 13, and Dustin passes the turn. Now, Dustin won't have a play next turn. He's going to draw his land that he put back on top.
Right.
And his other 2 spells in his hand both cost 3 mana.
Yeah, that's the only downside to his play. He can't use a fetch land to clear the top of his deck.
All right, so Eric dredges.
Yep, we have a Bridge from below in the graveyard now.
Plays a Gemstone Mine. Gemstone Mine comes into play with 3 counters, works as a City of Brass essentially without taking any damage, but after 3 uses, it's done.
Right. In dredge though, 3 uses is generally all you're going to need.
All right, so he's going to hard cast a Narcomoeba. And he's probably going to flashback this Cabal Therapy, targeting Dustin, naming...
I would say get that Geist of St. Traff.
Yeah, probably, right?
That's the biggest threat. It's such a clock. That could kill Eric out of nowhere.
Yep. All right, so he gets a token from the Bridge from below. 2/2 zombie.
Yep, and you see him mount the Geist there?
Yeah, it was the Geist, yep.
Yeah, and Geist goes to the bin. He sees the Swords.
Dustin's hand is Swords to Plowshare, Vidalian Click, and 2 lands. So we'll see how this game plays out. I think Eric's just going to pass, and he does just that. Dustin draws just a Misty Rainforest. What do you think Dustin does here? Just plays a Tundra and passes, or what?
Yeah, I don't see what other choice he has. He won't be swordsing that zombie. He'd much rather keep Eric on a 4-turn clock here.
Yeah, now a 3-turn clock, yeah. So Eric's going to fall to 9. Dustin can use something like a Lightning Bolt to speed up the clock.
Lightning Bolt would be great. Even a Force of Will would be okay, because it would let him counter any kind of Cabal therapies, Dread Returns if Eric doesn't flash back the other therapy.
Sure. All right. so he has a Narcomoeba, so that will enter the battlefield.
Yep, still only one bridge from below in the graveyard, though.
So nothing, it's not out of hand yet.
No. The fact that Eric Copenhaver can only dredge one a turn really is hurting him here.
And so far, no dread return.
Yeah, and also really important, no Faithless looting.
Yep.
So Zombie Token and Narcomoeba on Eric Copenhager's side, in addition to 3 lands, Dustin Taylor 2 lands, and an Insectile Aberration.
Yeah, and I mean, Eric does have 4 copies of Faithless Looting, but has yet to draw or hit one.
Right. Only 1 copy of Dread Return in his deck, so it could be on the bottom of his deck. He might have to mill pretty far to find it.
Yep, we'll see what happens there. All right, so he hard casts another Narcomoeba.
And that is kind of a big deal because that threatens the double block on the Delver.
Delver, yep. But as we know, Dustin does still have the Source of Plowshare in his hand.
And Eric knows that.
Yeah. Dustin might want to just Swords the Narcomoeba now, so he won't have to Swords it on his turn, so he's able to have 3 mana to play a Vidalian Click.
That's a good point.
But Eric might stop this. He might just say, you know, Cabal Therapy targeting you, I'm going to name the Vidalian Click.
Right, get it out of there.
Yep.
Dustin...
That's what it looks like, too.
You think Dustin will Swords in response?
Yeah, he might do that.
Like it.
All right, so he's Swordsing the Narcomoeba in response
now,
to the Cabal Therapy.
It seems really good because it gets rid of a trump blocker, but the problem with that is Eric Copenhaver goes up to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 1 more swing.
And if Eric doesn't have to use that City of Brass,
right,
we'll see what happens. All right, so he does name Vidalian Click, so Eric just destroy Dustin's hand. Dustin's only left with 2 lands. Ooh, Dustin draws a Lightning Bolt.
Perfect draw.
Very good draw here.
Taylor.
Okay, so Eric is down to 7 right now. So this is going to be interesting. Eric doesn't know that Dustin has his Lightning Bolt. So Dustin just bashes in for 3 and passes the turn. Eric should be doing some more dredging right here in the form of a Stinkweed Imp.
Yep, there's the Imp. Interestingly, the Imp has Death Touch.
Yeah, it does. So he's going to dredge for 5. He hits another bridge from below and a Cabal Therapy. That's a pretty good dredge for him right there.
Yeah, that's 3 Cabal Therapies. He does have the full 4 Cabal Therapies in his deck.
So Eric's going to fall to 6 and play Stinkweed Imp.
Yep, what he doesn't know,
yeah.
Dustin drew the bolt.
All right, so this is interesting here. Eric's going to bash in with those zombies. What do you think Dustin should do here? Should he make a play at the end step, or should he just wait to see what he draws? I think he should just wait to see what he draws.
Yeah, he doesn't have any 4-drops in his deck.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario is he goes some kind of Brainstorm into Geist of St. Traff play where he can't play all his spells. I'm not sure what's better here.
I think Dustin probably just wants to untap and see exactly what he draws before he makes a decision.
Yeah, I could see that. Maybe he wants to Swords to Plowshares that Stinkweed Imp.
Yeah, because that would be much better than actually Lightning Bolting the Stinkweed Imp.
Right.
Then he doesn't want Eric to get more zombies.
Right.
But then again, if he plows it, he gains some more life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I would probably wait, because if he draws a plow, that means the Lightning Bolt in his hand can go to the Dome instead of to the Imp. So I like your play better.
Okay. And I mean, there's a chance that Dustin just rips another Lightning Bolt and goes bolt, bolt, I win.
That too.
Holy cow, guys, I did it.
Dustin still has 3 Lightning Bolts in his deck.
Yeah, he does.
Also good draws for him. Grim Lavamancer would be great. Geist of St. Traff would be great.
Like a Brainstorm?
Stifle, Brainstorm. Almost all his non-lands are really good draws
Yeah,
here.
definitely.
The only ones he doesn't want, Daze, Spell Pierce, maybe.
And Dustin really needs to steal this game.
Yeah.
I mean, winning game 1 against Dredge is what you want to do.
So important.
Yep. All right, let's see what he draws. Oh, it's a Wasteland.
That's fine. That's really
okay. He can hit the Tarnished Citadel.
Right, knocks out the Tarnished Citadel, puts him down to only a City of Brass.
He's got a Lightning Bolt of Stinkweed Imp. Eric's gonna get some zombies. I think he's waiting for the judge to hand him a couple of zombies.
Yep, he didn't miss the trigger. He announced it verbally.
Yep. There's a Wasteland. He's gonna waste the Tarnished Citadel. Dustin reads it. And let's see what. Oh, the City of Brass. Okay, so I guess that makes sense.
He leaves Eric with only 1 colorless mana.
Yeah.
He can't tap it for colored.
All right. So where are the zombies?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Did Eric miss the trigger? I think he missed the trigger.
Really?
Yeah. So right now he needs to hit Narcomoeba and Dread Return, and he doesn't do it. I think Dustin Taylor might have stolen this one.
Did he really miss the trigger?
It sure looks like it.
Wow. Okay, so it looks like Dustin did steal this game.
Yeah, either way, though, even if Eric remembered the trigger, he didn't find any help from the top of his deck. No Dread Returns, no Narcomoebas. Dustin Taylor wins that game.
Wow, and that's really important. For him to be able to win game 1, that's that's crazy. All right, so we're going to go to sideboarding, but what we're also going to do is we're going to ask our trivia question.
Ooh, yeah. Now, in case you guys are unfamiliar with how the trivia works, during the quarterfinals of this tournament, we're going to ask you a question. You tweet into us.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be at SCG Live, but it does have to be using that hashtag SCG Premium.
Yes.
So tweet in the answer to Gerard's question, and you might be randomly selected for 3 months of Star City Premium.
All right.
And that's just the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
In the semis, it's 6 months, and in the finals, it's a year.
It's a year. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
if you guys don't even want to win 3 months, you guys could slow roll yourself and wait and gamble on the 1 year.
Skip this trivia question. You know you're going to win the year.
Yeah, why not? Have some confidence in yourself. All right, so yesterday we had the Standard Open.
That's right.
All right, it was won by Billy P.
Okay.
He was playing Jund.
That's right.
He played 0 cards from Gate Crash, but there was 1 card that he wished he played from Gate Crash.
Okay.
He talked about it. We talked about it. What 1 card from Gate Crash should Billy P played in his deck?
Okay, let's give him a little hint
I'll
here.
give him a little hint.
That's pretty tough.
There's a good chance that it might not even be a creature.
No, it's not a creature.
It might not even be a planeswalker.
Not a planeswalker.
It might not even be a sorcery, instant,
sorcery,
artifact, enchantment.
Oh, that doesn't leave many types. And you know what? I'll make it even easier. It's not a tribal.
It's not a tribal.
So-
all right. So it's a card that Billy P did not play. If you go to StarCityGames.com, you look at the top 8 deck list, you see Billy P's winning deck list. There's going to be 1 card from Gate Crash. You're going to say, hey, he played 0 this card.
It's a staple.
Really?
It's just a key card in the deck.
Yeah.
And it's not a creature.
It's a
Not
card that really
not a sorcery.
stomps your opponent.
That's it.
It really does. All right, so we're going to go back to the players right now. They're going to be sideboarding, figuring out what they want to do exactly. We kind of have an idea what Dustin wants to do. He definitely wants to bring in Rest in Peace. He definitely wants to bring in Torment's Crypt. He definitely wants to bring in Grafdigger's Cage. He most likely wants to bring in Engineer's Explosives as well. What else could he possibly bring in? Maybe a Spell Pierce? Why not?
Yeah, Spell Pierce is fine. It counters that Careful Study. It counters that Lion's Eye Diamond,
Yep.
Faithless Looting, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. What about your guy right here? What is Eric going to bring in?
Well, Eric, you know, always these dredge decks, they don't have that many options, but one thing he'll be bringing in is Dark Blast, no doubt about it. That kills the Grim Lavamancer. That
kills the Vidalian Glaive.
Right, kills the Delver before
Kills
it
the
flips.
Delver Secrets as well, yeah.
So he'll be bringing in that. He'll be bringing in some number of Firestorms. Now, this is good against these blue decks because usually they'll counter your Putrid, they'll counter your, they'll counter your Careful Study, but you can't counter the important part of Firestorm, which is the discard as an additional cost.
Yeah. I have a question about Dustin's deck for a second here. What do you think about Umezawa's Jitte?
Oh, I think it's great. I would definitely have it in my deck afterward.
Yeah, definitely, right? You know, maybe that's something that Dustin maybe overlooked, didn't really want to play it, but it's just really good against a bunch of creature decks, and Umezawa's Jitte really shines against Dredge as well.
Right. Now, what Dustin Taylor gets to do, he gets to see Eric Copenhaver's list, just like Eric gets to see his. So
exactly.
If I were Dustin Taylor, what I would do, I would say, okay, so he's going to bring in these Firestorms, he's going to bring in these cards that are uncounterable, that let him get his dredges into the graveyard. What I'm going to do, I'm going to side out my counter spells. Buy Force of Will, buy Spell Pierce, buy Daze. I'm going to side in all of the proactive cards and try and beat him down.
Really? You think you should not bring in the extra Spell Pierce? I think Spell Pierce is really strong against Dredge.
I think I might rather have Force of Will. I'm not sure.
Or neither, you're saying?
Right. I think I would definitely cut the Dazes, and I'm not sure I would want 8 counter spells after board, or even 6. I might go down to something like 4. I'd side in the EEs. I'd side in the cards that answer Eric's in a little different way.
Okay, that's definitely understandable. So it's going to be a really tight game, a really tight match overall. You saw game 1 how close it really was. Dustin needed to get a lucky draw. Eric needed to kind of break off, and also Eric did forget the triggers there, so that might have been a small factor in Dustin's win as well.
That's right. Eric did have to mill his Dread Return, and that's kind of the problem with this Dredge deck. He put so many of his slots into cards like Breakthrough, Faithless Looting, 4 Cabal Therapy. Most lists only play 3. He only has 1 Dread Return, so he would have had to mill his whole deck to find that Dread Return.
Yeah, so it's going to be crazy. Both players are piling on their deck. It looks like both players decided on their sideboard, have a plan. You know, lots of times going into the top 8. You come with a bunch of your friends in this tournament. You say, hey, this is what the top 8 looks like. You kind of discuss with your friends, like, hey, if you end up playing against a Dredge guy, I think you should do this. You end up playing against a Sneak and Show guy, you end up doing this. So it's always good to, you know, come with your friends, have a lot of fun, but also discuss some strategy with your friends.
Right. The only way you get better at Magic quickly is to talk to people better than you, talk to people with different opinions than you. You want to find the guy that disagrees with you the most and figure out why he does and who's right.
Exactly, yeah. And playing at Magic Online definitely helps a lot. And coming out to competitive events like the SCG Open, You know, because you get to play against a lot of good players. You get to test out your deck for 9, 10 rounds to see how good it really is.
Right, and there's nothing quite like tournament testing to determine whether your deck's good.
Yeah, because you're sideboarding.
Right, you can play against your friend for as many games as you want at home, but somehow it's just not the same.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And I want to make one more point about Eric Copenhaver's sideboard. He has the extra Dread return, so he's going to board up to 2, as well as the Elesh Norn and the Iona. So his deck's kind of going to take on more of a combo feel to it.
That's definitely a good call. If the Iona comes down, what color do you think you name against Dustin's deck? Think it's white, stops Swords to Plowshare, stops Geist Sustained Draft, or do you think it's blue?
If you're low on life, I think it has to be red to stop the burn, but most of the time, I think it's going to name white to stop the swords.
Okay, yeah, I could definitely agree with that.
So here we go. Players getting ready for game 2. Dustin Taylor.
Did you notice that Eric's sleeves matches his hoodie?
Oh, that was the first thing I noticed.
Oh, you think just like me, Zach. And for Dustin's side, just like nothing really matches. He's got like a blue shirt, like a green sweater over it, and some dark color sleeves. So.
I'm gonna have to give him a talking to, give him some fashion tips after this match.
Dustin really does need some fashion tips for this. But it looks like Dustin is going to keep. However, Eric is going to mulligan, and I mean that's what Dredge does.
Right.
It mulligans.
Just like the Undercity Informer deck, the no lands deck, the power comes at a price. You mulligan a lot, your deck's inconsistent, you just have to go looking for that perfect hand, and sometimes it doesn't appear and you're left with 4 bad cards.
Yeah, and you know, if there's one deck that can mulligan, mulligan, mulligan again, it's Dredge. I actually played it in a vintage tournament not too long ago, and one of my opponents mulliganed down to 1, just searching for a Bazaar bag deck.
1 card?
Yeah, 1 card, yeah. But obviously in Legacy, thankfully that card is banned.
Yeah, that card would break it a bit.
Yeah, and that's another card, probably when it was printed and somebody opened it up in a booster pack, they're like, this card's really bad. When would I ever play it?
Draw 2, discard 3, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but now it's a valuable card and it's just awesome in Dredge.
Yeah, when you add 20 years of Magic to these old niche cards, they become pretty powerful with the right ones, the right support.
Definitely. All right, so we'll see if Eric decides to keep his 6-card hand. Hopefully he does for his own sake. I think Dustin, wouldn't mind Eric going down to 5 cards. All right, so Dustin gives a little shuffle, a little more shuffle, and finally gives the deck to Eric. So Eric will lay out 6 cards and see if he likes what he sees.
Yep, he's mainly looking for something like a Putrid Imp here. A permanent discard source is exactly what he wants.
Yep, and he draws 6 and leans back in his chair a bit.
That doesn't look like the face of a happy man.
Yeah, I saw a sigh. I don't think it was a sigh of relief. I think it was really like, this is how I'm going to go out of the tournament. Double mulligan.
Right, he fought so hard. Came into this tournament as the 8th seed? No, I'm sorry. Came into this tournament as the 6th seed.
Yes.
An X1-1 into the top 8. Going to 5.
Going to 5. All right. And Dustin probably has a pretty strong hand because he kept pretty quickly. And, if he didn't have one of his sideboard cards, there's a good chance that Dustin, he's not a man who's afraid to mulligan. I speak to him all the time. He's like, yo, check out my hand. It was, 3 lands and 4 spells, and he decided to ship it back. I'm like, really? And he explained to me why, and he really makes sense. So I'm going to guess that he either has a Grafdigger's Cage, a Tormod's Crypt, or a Rest in Peace in his opening hand.
Yeah, when you keep a hand of 7 on the draw against a deck like Dredge, that's so strong.
Yeah, exactly.
And that might be part of the reason why Eric mulligan. He might have said, I have to go try and find my Ancient Grudge for the Grafdiggers. I might have to go find the consistent turn 1 outlet.
Yep, exactly. I mean, Dustin also could have like a really aggressive draw. He might just have, 1 or 2 Delvers and a burn spell. And he just thinks that these cards will be aggressive enough for him to plow through and beat Eric in quick fashion.
Right, Dustin doesn't necessarily need the hate, because if he goes Delver into Lavamancer and a 1-drop, that's so strong, because the Lavamancer can neuter a bridge on command by killing the Delver, killing itself, and of course it can just fight through the Putrid Imps and things like that. Yeah, exactly.
I think Dustin would, if he had a Lavamancer and a Delver, I think he would prefer to lead off with a Lavamancer, assuming he had the sack lands to actually fill up his graveyard.
Right.
All right, so it looks like Amon wins 2-0, so he's heading to the top 4.
That's incredible. I talked to Amon before the top 8. He said, I have no idea how I made top 8. I am 3-0, 6-0 against Storm. Yeah. And now he beats it again. He's 8-0 against Storm. Yeah. How did he do it? He has no disruption.
He just has 4 Hand of Torax. That's it. No Thoughtseizes main deck. No Force of Will's main deck.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
Amon, the Cinderella story of this tournament.
Yeah. All right, so what is Eric going to do? Is he really going on to 4 cards here? I think he said I'm good. Oh no, or he might just say I need another minute. So
Wow, this hand must be really questionable if he's thinking about going down to 4 here.
Yeah, so that's the first match update we have. So Jack Wang is out of the tournament.
Well, congratulations, Jack Wang. You're qualified for an invitational.
Yep, of your choice.
Yeah.
And he you know, walked away with a nice prize. So Eric, in the meantime, is going out with 4 cards.
Yeah,
This looks really, really good for Dustin.
The triple mull on the play.
Yeah.
But if any deck can come back from it, it's Dredge.
Yeah, it definitely is Dredge. Yeah, so I'm kind of wondering what's going on in the Ravitz matchup and also in the Zach Mullen and the Austin match.
Yeah, look for those matchups to be a little slower, especially the Josh Ravitch matchup, as he's playing against the blue-white control deck.
Yeah, blue-white control, although Ravitz did get a couple of really busty draws. Turn 1 show and tell, turn 2 show and tell. Against the blue-white control deck, wow, Ravitz took it down already.
Wow, 20 minutes
quick.
into this toppy, and we already have 2 2-0s.
Yeah, that was really, yeah. I guess with all these combo decks, they just went on turn 2 or turn 3. They don't care about counterspell. They don't care about counterbalance. They don't care about force of will. They're just plowing through everything.
Exactly. So sneak and show onto the semis.
Yeah, I'm going to update this list we have right here. All right, so Ravitz moves on with sneak and show.
Well,
And he will be
Josh
playing
Ravitch.
against Ahmed, playing Shard Bug.
Wow, and we'll see if Amon can keep it up, can win against another combo
Yeah,
deck.
so it's going to be Bug versus Sneak and Show. It's going to be interesting, all right.
First, though, we have to finish with this match. Eric quickly keeps his 4.
All right, so Gemstone Mine will go down to 2 counters because he's playing a Faithless Looting.
Yeah, and Eric just burning all of his resources now, going down a card, going down a
Do
counter.
you know what
on
I
his
see in
Gemstone
Dustin's
Mine.
hand? I think I see a Graph Digger's Cage.
Wow. Dustin, all the answers. He's probably going to lead on the Delver here.
Yep. All right, there's Delver Secrets. Dustin's going to want to flip that and just start putting a clock on Eric.
Exactly. One thing you don't want to do is give Dredge too much time to recover.
Exactly, especially when they're down to 4 cards.
Now, if that is a Graph Digger's Cage from Dustin, Eric only has one way to kill that. He has the 1 Ancient Grudge, unless he brought in more Nature's Claims.
Yep.
So up to 5 ways, but it's hard to clog your deck with that much just for 1 card.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it does look like a Graph Digger's Cage. And I agree with Dustin by playing the Delver Secrets on turn 1.
Yeah, a Dredge mull to 4, no Dredger in the yard is not very threatening.
Exactly. All right, so he plays a City of Brass and he plays an Imp. And I believe this Imp is going to resolve.
Yep, Putrid Imp. Just what Eric needs, a permanent discard outlet. Now all he has to find is a Dredger.
Yep, exactly. Can you tell what's in Eric's hand?
Not sure.
Okay. So Dustin's going to untap. He's going to check with his Delver, I believe. Maybe he's going to Brainstorm first, if he has one.
Looking at the upkeep Brainstorm.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he has a Brainstorm or he's just thinking about maybe doing something else. Right, he's going to check with Delver. And it is not going to flip. He drew a Wasteland.
That's a pretty good draw, though.
Yeah, especially when your opponent did mulligan down to 4.
Right.
Keep them off their resources is very important.
Right. So what a great turn for Dustin. He gets to Lightning Bolt the Putrid Imp, see what he discards, and it's nothing. And now he gets to Wasteland the City of Brass, leaving Eric with 1 card in hand and a Gemstone Mine on 1 counter.
Yep, and Eric remembers his time to go get a zombie.
Yep.
There's a bridge from below in the graveyard. All right, so he Wastelands the City of Brass. And he's going to pass a turn.
Yep.
Now, why do you think Dustin bolted before the attack? Shouldn't he have just attacked first?
I think what he wanted to see is if Eric drew a Dredger. So
To decide whether or not he wanted to play Graph Digger's Cage or Wasteland?
Exactly.
Okay, that makes some sense there.
So in a game like this, Dustin Taylor decided the only way I'm going to lose is if he discards a Dredger, so I want to make sure I can get that cage into play.
Okay, and the 1 point of damage is just not that relevant?
Exactly.
Yep. All right, so he's going for a Daze here.
Days on the Careful Study.
So this is going to essentially Wasteland the Gemstone Mine.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh, 2 Narconevas hit the bin, and Eric will just pass a turn. I think I probably would have attacked with that zombie if I was Eric.
Yeah, me too. Better to trade 2 for 1 here.
Yeah, exactly, because if it flips, you can't block anyway.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Dustin
Taylor
plays the
lands
Graph Digger's
Graph Digger.
Cage.
Insult to injury here for Eric Copenhaver.
All right, Eric reads it to make sure he knows what it does.
Eric on no hand, 1 land, and a zombie.
Yeah, and he's facing down a Graph Digger's Cage.
No way to discard any cards. He's going to have to naturally draw a Careful Study into a Dredger.
Yep.
Oh, and
yeah, I think it did draw a
That's a
Dredger.
troll.
Yeah, that is a troll.
So theoretically, he's just 1 Careful Study
All right,
away
so
from
Dustin's
getting
going
his
to Brainstorm on upkeep,
engine online.
and he's going to flip that Delver. He's going to put that Stifle back and reveal it to make his Delver a 3/2 flyer. I also see a Gunsight Draft in his hand, so that's going to put some pressure on Eric as well. even though it might just trade with the zombie token, the 4/4 Angel's going to get 4 more points of damage.
Right, and even more importantly, nukes the bridge from below in Eric's graveyard.
Exactly. Now the bridge is all good, all fun for Eric, but as soon as one of Dustin's creatures hit the bin, that bridge is removed from the game.
That's right.
All right, so now he finally attacks with the zombie.
Gets in for 2, makes the life total 17-16.
He'll pass a turn. Dustin will take another point of damage because he sacrifices the Flutter Strands. And it looks like Dustin's going to untap and just drop a Geist Sustained Draft after attacking for 3 points of damage. So this game looks really good for Dustin, and it looks like there's a strong chance Dustin's going to move on to the top 4.
Yeah, I believe the only chance Eric has in this match is to draw Careful Study in his next draw phase.
Yeah, one of the last times I did commentary for SCG Live, Dustin actually won the tournament.
Wow.
Yeah,
very
so
nice.
yeah, kind of interesting, and now he's making a run again.
Yeah, he actually, I posted on Facebook last night, kind of a dagger at him for drawing into 9th, and he said, well, I'm coming tomorrow and I'm going to win the tournament.
All right.
So he called his shot. We'll see if he can do it.
Okay, and in the meantime, Dustin draws a Force of Will. So now Dustin has Force of Will along with the Stifle that he revealed from the Delver Secrets.
Right, so it's all over but the crying for Eric, who does draw a city.
City of Brass. I mean, it's the second land. He's got to be able to use the Coliseum.
Right.
He's got to help a little bit, but he's going to have to get really lucky here.
Exactly. He's going to be able to discard some Dredgers, but he's already at 13, facing down at least 7 points of flying next turn.
Yep. All right. I think Dustin's probably going to take this one down, especially with the Force of Will backup.
Right.
That's going to help just in case somehow Eric gets a Dread Return in the graveyard, something crazy going on. So
Eric Copenhaver draws his Nature's Claim and another Cephalid Coliseum, so he's trying to put up a fight here off the Mull to 4.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still going to have to deal with the Grafdigger's Cage, fight through the Force of Will, and he's going to have to draw something like a Dread Return, like I said before.
Yeah, I think he's just ran out of time. If he got this online turn 1, he would have a shot. But this draw from Dustin, just far too aggressive.
Yeah,
turn 1 Delver.
I mean, remember, Eric did mulligan down to 4 this game.
Yeah. The fact that he's even in this game is pretty impressive.
I don't even know. In's definitely a loose term right there. He has a shot, an outside shot.
He has a buzzer beater.
Yeah, Dustin draws a Volcanic Island. Not really going to help him. And if I were Dustin, I would just, do exactly that.
Yep, remembers to put the Angel into play. Geist trades with Zombie.
All right, so the bridge will be removed from the game. That Angel will also be removed from the game. It only stays into play until end of combat.
And there it goes, Eric.
Down to 5 life,
down
correct?
To 5.
Yeah.
So he's just 2 swings away. Dustin Taylor, no burn in hand, but I don't think he's going to need it. He has Force of Will and a blue card here.
All right, so what's Eric going to do during his draw step? He's going to dredge for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, there's a Narcomoeba 6. Ooh, Icarid, Narcomoeba, and a Cabal Therapy.
Okay, so the Narcomoeba buys him a turn.
No, it doesn't because of the Grafdigger's Cage. Okay, yeah. In response, he's going to Nature's Claim. But I think Dustin's just going to Force of Will this.
He's either going to Force of Will that or stifle the Narcomoeba trigger. Looks like he's going with the Force of Will.
Yeah, Force of Will.
Smarter play here.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, he wants that cage in play, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Narcomoeba doesn't come into play because of the Grafdigger's Cage says no creature can enter the battlefield from the graveyard.
That's right. So all Eric can do is pass. He has a single
Brainstorm.
permanent.
I think Dustin might end it right in here. Hitting a lightning bolt would be pretty nice for him.
Yep. So Volcanic Island, tap for Brainstorm. 1,
2, Stifle, Delver, Ponder.
Okay.
All right, digs a little deeper.
Yep.
Ponder will definitely help him.
So Dustin will this turn be able to ponder into fetch land if he wants.
Yeah. If not, I don't think it's a big deal at all. I think, even if Dustin just attacks him down to 1 next turn, it's just game over.
Right.
Eric can't even use the City of Brass anymore.
Yeah, Eric down to effectively no lands.
Yeah.
He has 1 turn to make something happen.
Yeah, I feel like almost every deck we saw on camera just had no lands, except for the 12 post. The 12 post deck was the only deck that had a lot of lands.
Nothing like Standard. Standard, we saw 15 lands, 17 lands.
Yeah. Still see some Sphinx of Revelation in Standard.
Yeah.
A lot less than he did, a month ago.
Right, but Chris Marshall came in second at that tournament, carrying the banner for the Sphinxes.
Yeah, they're still out there. All right, there's a Ponder. Let's see. Dustin draws Scalding Tarn, Flooded Strands, Wasteland. He's most likely to shuffle those away.
Just going to get rid of them, try and draw the bolt, and end it here.
Exactly.
Eric just suffering in silence over there, waiting to die.
Ooh, okay. I think Dustin was unaware of Eric's life total because he actually wastelanded the City of Brass. Dustin's like, okay, Eric, I'm not going to allow you to kill yourself. I'm going to kill you, you know? Regardless, congratulations to Dustin. I think his friend is just telling him now that he was that one life. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
The backseat driver friend, of
Yeah.
course, looks like Adam Snook in the background. Has the dagger.
Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty funny. So, regardless, Dustin makes it all the way to the top 4. I'm not sure what's going on here, but anyway, congratulations, Dustin Taylor. You're in the top 4, so I'm going to update my little sheet over here. So we have Dustin Taylor with American Delver. I feel like I'm in school taking notes, you know? Teachers, can you repeat that? Oh, Dustin Taylor with American Delver. I got it.
Okay, remember that. That's going to be on the trivia quiz.
Yeah, for sure.
In a few months.
All right, so there's only one match that might be going on. We're going to get an update right now. They might be in game 3. I see Austin playing all the way from over here, from across the convention. He's got a nice head of hair over there. So, and he's playing the 12-post deck, which is a deck that does take a while to, you know, set up. It takes a while. It's a lot of shuffling, a lot of thinking. So I could definitely see this being in game 3, possibly still in game 2.
They could still be in game 2.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
But if you are just joining us, I'm Zach Hall, and he's Gerard Fabiano, and we're coming to you live from the Star City Games Open here in Edison, New Jersey. We're in the top 8 of Legacy. Dustin Taylor just moved on to the semis.
Sure. Okay. So I think the confusion might have been that Dustin Taylor, they thought he might have played a second land that turn with the Wasteland.
Okay.
Regardless, it didn't matter because Wasteland in the City of Brass was actually bad because he couldn't even use the City of Brass.
Dustin Taylor clearly not trying to cheat there, just a little oversight. He knew he had the game won.
Yeah, I don't even know if he played a second land.
I don't think he
so.
actually did, because last turn he played Geist, and that was his 4th land. So
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
Yeah.
He